source. So how original is Guernica, and where does creativity come from? Is it like some sort of divine inspiration, or is it more of a gradual problem-solving process? Now, these two perspectives, among many other perspectives on creativity, are always fighting and struggling. But if we look at Guernica, if we look at the elements in the painting, not all the elements, but just let's take a quick look at the number of symbols and elements that are being used by Picasso. So there is the bull, the minotaur, and the bull are prominently present in all of Picasso's work. He even once said, I believe, that if you draw my life, all the places I have been, it will trace the shape of a bull. So there is the bull, there is the horse, and the bull killed the horse. The horse is injured, it's dying. There is a dying warrior. Well, actually, he's dead, he's dismembered. There is a weeping woman, dead child. There is the eye and the light. But let's look at some symbols. So one, the broken sword. But then look at the flower coming to life from the dead warrior's hand. I've read that some people say on the hand of the warrior, these are stigmata signs. Look at the horse's mouth, this abstract-like representation of pain. There is also something that resembles a symbol of a skull near the horse's nose. So there are all these symbols, all these elements. But interestingly, many argue that, well, all of this is something that Picasso had just been working on and perfecting for a long time. In his book on creativity, Weisberg says, well, these symbols didn't just explode, they didn't come out of nowhere, they are being reused. So Picasso has used them many times before, and indeed, if we look at another painting called Minotauromachy, some of the elements are there, and Picasso has toyed with the idea of a horse and a bull, and a horse being murdered by the bull many times before. There's even a painting from 1917 on that. Weisberg tried to look at all the elements present in Guernica and those present in Minotauromachy and Artist Studio, and he found many commonalities between them. He also found commonalities in some of the shapes between the work here and the work of Goya in his painting The Disasters of War. So what happened here is that Picasso, in his ongoing process of experimentation, was reusing some elements, some symbols that he is familiar with, that he had used before. But interestingly here, as these symbols get reused, used again in new paintings, in new contexts, all of the work gains new meanings, right? So this reuse allows for a process of reinvention and reinterpretation. Now, interestingly here, Picasso was asked about what do these symbols mean, and his answer was quite telling. When he was asked what does the bull mean, what does the horse mean, and he said, well, the bull is a bull and the horse is a horse. If you give meaning to certain things in my paintings, it may be very true, but it is not my idea to give this meaning. What ideas and conclusions you have got, I obtain too, but instinctively and unconsciously. I make the painting for the painting, I paint the objects for what they are. Okay, so here the symbols to the artist have a different meaning, a different significance, as opposed to the reader or the interpreter of the work of art. And this reminds me of what Tolkien once replied when he was asked, well, what does the ring actually mean? Is Sauron Hitler? And to answer this, he went into a discussion on the difference between the symbol and the allegory. Right? And the symbol is a great tool of communication because of some kind of fuzziness, approximate thinking that surrounds it. And I discussed this in Fuzzy on the Dark Side. Who are we? We are owners and interpreters of symbols, and our useful symbol set is just something that keeps growing with time. We acquire new symbols, we reinterpret them, we use them, and our old symbol set evolves with us. So symbols are flexible and malleable, and they allow creators to say more while giving room for the receiver, for the interpreter to participate in the creativity. And even though many of these symbols have been reused before by Picasso and by others, their inclusion or their utilization by Picasso's unconscious has been brilliant in this particular case.